So what's going on, guys? My name's Tarfari, and this is my recap and review of Prison Break Season 5, Episode 8. We're almost there. Progeny. And in this episode was pretty serious, man. Like, we got a lot of reveals, a lot of shocks, you know what I mean? This series has had a lot of twists so far, and I think they like that, you know? This is real edgy writing. You know, like I was saying before, any story where you're telling where the bad guy banishes you to another country, then sleeps with your wife and raises your kid, that's some edgy fucking storytelling right there, man. And I'm loving it, dude. I'm reading this stuff online. I know it's a couple weeks past, series is over, but we still got 2 more videos to review. But I think people are like, yo, stories are crazy, man. Anything can happen. All right, so I'm gonna have to jump back and forward through time here in order to explain this right. So it seems like a lot of the criticism the series has gotten, right, is one thing about Teabag, right? In this episode, we find out a big plot point. Whip is Teabag's son, right? We find out that homie's name is like David. What was his name, man? David. Dude's name was David Martin. I had to pause it and come back. David Martin. And we find out that, I guess, Teabag slept with some waitress, one night stand. She didn't have a number. He got locked up, whatever, and had this kid. And people are saying, well, wasn't it like season 2 or 3 or 4 or some shit where he said that he was sterile and shit? Like, yo, people say that shit all the time, bro. Like, fucking ask any doctor. People, like, the doctor will say, you can't have kids. Fucking 2 months later, pregnant. You know what I mean? It just happens all the fucking time. You know, it's not really a plot hole. You know what I mean? And like, I guess the writers kind of explained it away by saying anything can happen. And I understand people say when you say that's lazy writing, but I think in this case, I'm not standing up for them. You know what I mean? If I think something's lazy writing, I'll come out and say it, man. But I don't think this is lazy writing. I think it's a shock, it's a surprise, and it's pretty interesting, right? So, Whip is Teabag's son. Does that explain why he's his whip hand? I still don't get that shit, man. I still don't get that shit. But all right, let's go into Progeny, right? So this whole revelation with Teabag and David or Whip, we don't find that shit out until the end of the episode. So in the beginning of the episode, we're continuing from the ship that got hit with the fucking the missile, right? So the ship got hit with the missile, and our heroes are in the ocean right now. You know what I mean? Fucking Whip's got a whistle. All of a sudden, he's like waving his hands and he's calling over this boat. And so they get picked up in this boat, kind of like I think there was that one season where they broke out of the. I think that was when they were in Panama, right? When they that was season 1 where. Was it season 1? I don't fucking know. No. Alright. It was the Panama season when they broke out of Panama, and this is spoilers. I mean, obviously it's spoilers, man. This is season 5. Come on now. Anyway, when they broke out of Panama and they got on this boat and they went out to the ocean and then they got picked up by the dude's son because Sucre couldn't make it. It was very similar to that. So they get picked up by this dude. The dude takes them to some place, right? And I don't know, like Florence or some shit, right? And so they're not in America yet. We're trying to figure out how we're gonna get back to America. And now Lincoln has the plan. Mike's out of plans. This has been a tough, crazy journey for homie, and he's starting to run out of plans. Mike, so Lincoln has a plan. He says, I've been, while you were gone these 7 years, I needed money. I wanted to kickstart my life, so I kind of started working for Bruzy's son. And so now we find out that dude that Lincoln was kind of in debt with at the beginning of the season, that's Luca Bruzy's son. And come to find out that Lincoln found out. At first, Lincoln was working for him, just moving stuff from one place to another. He wasn't supposed to look in the boxes. And Lincoln ends up looking in the boxes, finds out that it's fentanyl. I guess that's killing people. And so he decides to throw it away, right? Good conscience, right? There you go. Just throw it away, man. Throw 10K away, right? He throws 10K away of this dude's drugs. And obviously a drug dealer doesn't like that. I mean, I don't know if you guys, no. But drug dealers don't like it when you throw away their drugs. That's just a life lesson for you guys, all right? And so, Lincoln decides that this is a cool way, or not a cool way, but the only way to quickly get back in the country. So he calls up Luca Bruzy. He says, hey man, like, you want to let me back in the country, man? No, that's not what he says. But he was like, he said that if you let me back in the country, I will, I have the 10K for you. You know what I mean? I know you got like, planes and stuff where you smuggle your drugs in. Just smuggle us in, and I got your 10K right here. And somehow Luca kind of buys it, because I guess Luca's like, well, if you don't got the money, I'm just gonna shoot you, man. And as a matter of fact, I kind of think I want to shoot you regardless, right? So anyway, it works out. They smuggle the dudes back in the country. They meet up with Luca, and Luca's like, hey man, where my money at, man? And friggin' Lincoln's like, hey man, I don't got that shit, bro, but you better not do nothing to me, because I got FBI agents and DIA agents and DEA agents, all the agents, man. They about to come and sweep this factory, man, and you about to get busted, man. He's like, man, I don't believe you. And so they got C-Note to kind of like dress up like DEA, and they also enlisted what's her name? Dang, it's been a little bit. Sheba. They got Sheba, and then they got, I guess, one of the people from the mosque to put on DEA hats and drive fucking these Escalades or whatever, these black trucks or black minivans, whatever those are called. I don't know shit about cars, but anyway, SUVs, that's what I'm looking for. So they drive these SUVs and they look like DEA, and it seems like a bunch of them. So Luca and his boys kind of just like skedaddle on these good dudes, right? So everything's worked out. They got him back in the country. This was Michael's plan. Michael outsmarts Luca. Everything seems good. But then, right? So Mike, he shows up home. No one's home. It's like all the lights are out. No one's there. And so he texts Sarah, and so come to find out that Michael has figured out that Ness has Sarah's phone because he calls Mike Jr., little Mike Jr., and they agreed not to call him that. I kind of talked about that in my last video. Now, in between here, we get some flashbacks that we actually really did need to get. We learn that, about this conversation that Michael and Ness had, or Jacob, whatever, had back in the day, and pretty much, Jacob is pretty much, drooling over Mike, like, man, I had to learn about that dude who put his plans on his sleeve and stuff, man. That's real cool, man. And so he's really like hamming him up, but also hamming himself up. He's like, see now, true power is like not letting your face be seen, and some other shit. He's trying to say some like, man, he swears he's the shit. Dude, this is like, this is a good villain right now, because he swears he's the shit right now, dude. He's like, man, I'm so fucking smart. I got chessboards all over my fucking house. You know what I mean? I can outthink anybody. That's that's exactly it, man. Sociopath, man. He feels like he's smarter than the U.S. government. That's why he needs to take it upon himself to create 21 Void and do the foreign policy that, our government's like afraid to do. And so, guaranteed sociopath right now, and it's interesting stuff. It's crazy. So, in this conversation, they're walking through, I guess that school or whatever that Ness works at. Come to find out, there's like this hidden door that will only open at facial recognition, right? And Michael sees all this, right? And pretty much, like I was saying, Ness was saying, don't let anybody see your face, and whatever. And he's like, he said some cocky shit like, I can see in your eye that you're plotting something or whatever. He says that to Michael, right? And Michael's like, it's behind the eyes that counts, right? And which is the name of the next episode. So I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, after the flashback, we see, Michael's obviously like, we're gonna have to bring this dude down. He figures out that Ness has the phone, and he's pretty much trying to play Michael and make him think that he doesn't know that he has the phone. So then after Michael, Michael's now in Ithaca, and it's time for the end game to start. That's what Michael says. Michael says it's time for the end game to start. And so he tells Sarah to meet him somewhere, right? And freaking it becomes like a real life chess game. So first, Ness puts Van Gogh in front of the diner or whatever that they're supposed to meet at, right? And this black SUV shows up. Van Gogh goes to check it out. It's just like an Uber driver or whatever come to pick up, Sarah and her kid, and freaking Van Gogh tells the dude to get out of here, boogie. And so the SUV leaves, and he talks to Ness on the phone, and Ness is like, see, it was just to get you to reveal yourself. You can leave now. And Ness tells him like, or while you're walking away, and Ness is Poseidon, just in case some people's not following. Poseidon, Ness, Jacob Ness. But anyway, I don't know. I just like calling him Ness. It makes me remember like Super Smash Brothers. But anyway, so Ness tells him to walk away, but as he's walking away, he tells him to say, say some shit that reveals that, like, damn, I wish I remember what they said, but pretty much something like, I'm headed back to you now. That's what it was. It was like, I'm headed back to you now. And so he walks away and he says that, and you see that Lincoln is on, some bench, and he hears him say it, and he starts to follow him. And so Ness is, in the back, he's kind of surveying all this, and he's like, look, Lincoln's already on the move. So now he wants AW or Emily. I think we find out her name is Emily. So I don't know what the subtitles were. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe her alias is AW. I don't freaking know. Maybe she likes root beer. I don't know. But anyway, so Emily or AW starts to follow Lincoln, right? And so she's like across the street, and Lincoln's following the dude on the other side of the street. And then one of those like monorail buses or whatever goes by, and after it goes by, Link is gone. And so AW's like, oh man. And so she runs across the street, and it looks like he went down into like some parking garage or whatever. So she follows him down there, but she gets down there and there's too many different ways to go. She lost him, and so she tries to contact Ness again, but finds out that there's like interference in this garage, right? So she ends up leaving the garage and walking back to where Ness is. And so when she regroups with Poseidon, Poseidon's kind of like, why'd you come back here? Now they know. And so then we zoom out and we see Michael on top of this building looking down with binoculars, and he just says black sedan. And so Ness tries to leave, and he's like, and Michael says that he's headed east. So with this information, it's looking like Michael's won the end game, right? And so they follow Ness or his car, and they come to find, so they have Sheba follow the car, right? And Ness sees somebody following, right? And when the car tries to pull up, he like puts his gun out the window and points it at him, but he doesn't recognize Sheba. And so she was like, please don't shoot, and he puts his gun away or whatever. He's like, he like almost just shot a regular person. So, he like drives away, he almost gets into an accident driving so fast. And they continue to follow him, and eventually they find the car abandoned. And they recon with Michael over the phone and says, we found the car. Sarah was definitely with them. And Michael asks like, why? And then you see Link and Sheba looking in the trunk, and the trunk's like cut, like you can see like someone scratching somebody must have scratched inside of the trunk, and there's some blood in the trunk. And so it was obvious that she was in there. And then there was also this picture from Mike Jr., or we're not supposed to call him Mike Jr., Lil Mike, Lil Mike drew this map. And so supposedly. And so Michael, finds the map, and he's like, it's, it honestly doesn't look like a map. It just looks like a picture of 3 people on a boat. And pretty interesting, this part. So it's a picture of 3 people on a boat. Then there's a multi-headed hydra attacking the boat. So fun fact, right? I learned this about way back in the day. So Scylla, which was one of the which was a device from season 4, I believe, where they were trying to recover Scylla because the company used this like multi-key card encryption system to hold passwords and stuff, right? And the system that that was called Scylla, right? And so Scylla is Greek. Scylla is like this Greek monster that was like in the bay, and I believe it was like a multi-headed hydra. And so it was like almost a callback to that. I'm pretty sure. Like, I could be getting my Greek history wrong, but I don't think I am. Pretty interesting there. So anyway, Michael decodes the map, the picture into a map, which earlier in the episode we see Ness and Mike Jr. or Little Mike freaking talking about how Little Mike leaves maps in the form of pictures for his friends. And so Michael deciphers the map. I guess it's like pretty much talking to like the heads of the Hydra are also in the shape of the Finger Lakes. So it's almost like a location for a cabin in the Finger Lakes, right? Pretty interesting stuff here. Okay. So they go there. They go to this cabin and Lincoln's kind of like, well, yo, like, did Mike Jr. or did Little Mike even know that you guys were coming? Like this sounds weird. And Michael's like, yeah, he's my son. It's ingrained in him. You know what I mean? It's ingrained in you, son. And it's crazy because that's pretty much what Teabag and Whip said to each other, which is pretty interesting. And so I want to go back to that because I believe it was about this far into the video that we start to find out. So you see that Michael has instructions for Whip, and he tells him to go to Chicago. So Whip goes to Chicago, he gets a boat, and he goes out to these coordinates that Michael asks him to go to. He goes to the coordinates, and tied to a buoy is a bag. So Whip reels the bag up. And inside the bag is a jar, and now inside the jar it's either blood or it's ragu pasta. Maybe Michael just really loves ragu pasta. There's a good chance. I like myself some ragu. I like that meat sauce on my spaghetti, but something tells me it's blood, right? So friggin' Whip has the blood. He's coming back to shore, and that's when he meets up with Teabag, and Teabag's like, what kind of name is Whip? And this dude's like, only certain people call me that, or whatever. And freaking pretty much Teabag tells him they get in an argument. They get in an argument kinda, and they like really almost even start fighting. Like they do some weird shit where they grab each other's necks and shit. Pretty crazy stuff. And so flashing back to, because I already talked about that, come to find out, son. But some weird stuff. If I had to say, man, it's really weird that like Michael gave the dude his hand back. Maybe that was just to gain Teabag's trust. I don't know. I'm something not that thing up there. But whatever, right? But anyway, so let's be honest. So it's 9 episodes. There's a little bit of rush in there. There is a little bit of rush in there. I'm sorry. I love it, but some of it's a little rushed. But anyway, let's keep going. So finally, Michael makes it to this cabin in the Finger Lakes, right? And so we see this scene before Michael gets there. We see this scene of Ness is talking to Mike, and you can see that Sarah's in the other room, but she kind of looks drugged. Like we don't see her face, right? Her back is to us. And she's just sitting there, so it almost seems like she's drugged or something. So, little Mike's looking in there, and he's like, is Mom okay? And what's his name's like, yeah, she's fine. She's just feeling like under the weather or something. So anyway, so Ness leaves, right? And you can see that Lincoln is set up outside the house. He's in a car, he's watching Ness leave. He's like, all right, he left. So then Mike goes in there. You see another car come by. Right, and Michael's or Link's like, wait a minute, I think Ness is back, right? So the car comes by, it's driving by real slow, and then it keeps going, right? So then Lincoln says, "Oh, you're good," it wasn't nobody. So Michael goes into the house, and they end their conversation on the phone, and as soon as they end their conversation on the phone, the car backs up. The car backs up, and you see it's Luca Bruzzi, and he's fucking next to Lincoln's car, and he's like, Lincoln! And then he pulls his gun out, and he just starts spraying that car up. And this was in the trailer for this episode. And it happened right at the end, and I really don't appreciate that. I feel like if it's gonna be in the trailer, it shouldn't happen at the end of the episode. But whatever. So looks like Link's dead, right? That's what they want you to think, and that's what I freaking thought, right? But spoiler alert, Link's not dead, okay? So I know that's horrible. I shouldn't have said that. Should I omit that? Nah, Link's not dead, man. That's not a fucking spoiler. Whatever. Come on, man. Come on. Maybe it is a spoiler. I don't know. Maybe I'll omit it. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, so Link's shot up, and Mike's in the house, and so Mike and Little Mike they meet up, and Little Mike keeps it quiet that dude's in the house. Michael sees that Sarah's in the other room, but he says there's something wrong, but he can't really put his finger on it. So he gets Little Mike and he brings him over, or he gets him to come over to him, and he's like, "I got your map." And freaking Little Mike's like, "I didn't draw a map." And then we're like, "Oh." Like, and you can see it in Michael's eyes. He's like, "What? You didn't draw a map?" And it's just like, then Sarah gets up, but come to find out it's not Sarah, it's AW dressed in a wig, and she's got her gun, and fucking Michael pulls Little Mike closer, and then the camera pans up to the window above the door, and you just see blood splatter all over that freaking window. And that's our cliffhanger right there, boy. That's our cliffhanger right there, boy. So right now they try to make you feel like Michael and Link is dead, which they're definitely not dead, right? Find out next time on the exciting conclusion of Prison Break. Pretty interesting stuff this episode. I don't like all the criticism online. Yeah, 9 episodes is rough, but they told us about that ahead of time. Maybe the story could have been a little tighter, but I mean, this ride's been crazy. Every episode has been epic movie proportion, and so I can't really be mad at it, Joe. And I honestly, when they make TV episodes that are an hour, right? A movie's only like an hour and a half, so it's like each episode's like a movie, So trying to make all these movies tie together might be a little tough, but there's still some stuff we talked about last episode that didn't really get explained, and I'm starting to think that these are just a little bit of bad edits, right? There was this point in the last episode where this dude got grabbed. No one's ever talked about this either, but Mike got grabbed, Little Mike, but then he was like somewhere else, and then Little Mike's location has not been tracked well, and maybe I'll go back through the series when I have more time, and just try to track Little Mike's location during that episode, because that was confusing. But this was pretty crazy episode. I actually really enjoyed it, and I have seen the last episode already, but I want to watch it one more time before I do my review, because I've just been having a busy couple weeks here, and I just don't want to get anything wrong. I want to do a good conclusion and talk about if I were to make a season 6, what I would do, because in order to make a season 6, you gotta have a good story, man. We've already seen homie go to jail so many freaking times, so this last one would have to be amazing. I honestly think you can't do a season 6, but maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more next time. Thank you for watching the video. Hey man, if you wanna leave me a like or a comment, man, I'd appreciate that shit, boy. But yo, my name's Tarfari, and I'm out.